In this video, we're going to show you how to install the inner tie rod on your Volvo XC60 located on your steering rack. Using a 19mm socket, we want to get it loosened and remove the lug studs. With the lug studs removed, go ahead and remove the wheel. Now we want to get and break our jam nut free before we separate the outer tie rod from the knuckle. We can use a large pair of pliers. All right, make sure the jam nut spins free from the inner tie rod here, and it does. Using a 21mm socket, let's go ahead and loosen our nut here. Now I'm just going to go ahead and thread this on just a couple threads. Now we're going to use our hammer. We're going to strike the knuckle here. That should release our outer tie rod end here. Make sure you're wearing safety glasses when doing a job like this. Remove that nut. I'm going to throw this back on there for now. Now that we have our jam nut loose, we're going to go ahead and remove our outer tie rod end. Now before you jump into this here, key thing you want to do is we need to count the amount of revolutions it takes to remove this from the inner tie rod. So go ahead and grab a crayon or a piece of paper with a pen or something to write this down. And we need to count the revolutions. $30 for our particular vehicle. Yours will probably be different, so be sure to count that. And I'm going to take my crayon here, and I'm just going to put a 30 on my strut. You can write on a piece of paper, but you can do that as well. Now this is a 27mm nut. We're going to use our impact driver here to go ahead and loosen and remove this. Use some pliers to go ahead and grab this clamp, and pinch that and remove it. Now your bellows boot has a band clamp on the inside there. And right here, the clamp itself has like a little pinched loop on it. Now we have a screwdriver with a notch cut in it. And what we like to do is put that right inside that loop. And we're gonna use our hammer, go ahead and knock that clamp off. Now these clamps are a one-time use. There is no salvaging this. Reach in there, remove that clamp. Go ahead and grab that boot. I want to go ahead and pop this off. Now we want to go ahead and unthread our inner tie rod from the steering rack shaft. You can use an inner tie rod tool that clamps onto this to remove it. We're going to use a large pair of pliers here to go ahead and bite onto this. Now when you remove that, you're probably going to have this little plastic sleeve or collar. You want to make sure that that remains there. And while you're here, you also want to take a look inside on the steering rack here. If you see power steering fluid leaking out of this here at the end of the shaft here inside, that means that the rack seal is bad. You need to address that further. Now ours is in good condition. We can now go ahead and install our inner tie rod. Now the inner tie rod comes with a little packet of grease. Tear that open. You want to go ahead and put that grease inside that pivot point here. And we're just going to pack that in for now, and then we'll work that in a little bit better once we get this installed. Okay, we'll take that inner tie rod, and we're going to start to thread that in. And grab a hold of that. And we want to make sure it's good and tight. There we go. Now you want to go ahead and work this and get that grease working inside here. Now before we install our boot, we want to go ahead and wipe off around the steering rack itself. Make sure where the boot is going to sit is clean. Take the boot and slide that up and over. I'm going to take our tie strap here and we're going to go ahead and just kind of get that started. I'm going to slide it up and over, just kind of let it hang there for now. Now when you're pushing this on, you want to push it in far enough we can get that boot to fit up and in there. Now that the boot is pressed in all the way, we're going to go ahead and take our pliers and we're going to want to grab the end of that tie strap and snug that down. So there's one last flat landing on that rubber boot. It's going to be positioned right in this flat landing right here. So that's where the tie strap is going to go, and that's replacing that metal band. Go ahead and get that in position. You can only grab that tie strap pigtail, pinch it, and just twist, and it'll kind of tighten up that tie strap for you. And once it feels good and tight, you can reach in there and make sure that that band doesn't spin. Then at that point, once that band is not spinning, you can go ahead and cut off the excess. Good. Take the strap for the outer here. Do the same thing here. Go ahead and use your pliers. Make sure that's good and snug. Get the nut started. Take your outer tie rod. Remove the nut and the protective boot cap. Take your outer tie rod and let's go ahead and start to thread that on. Now we had counted 30 revolutions to remove it. We're going to go ahead and do the same installing it. Now we're just going to hand snug our jam nut here. We can bring this around, line it up. Feed that up and in. And install the nut. Let's go ahead and snug this down. Now our ball joint stud is spinning a little bit inside the socket here, so we're going to apply some pressure to the ball joint, pushing it up to hold it using our pry bar. Now we're going to go ahead and torque this down to 59 foot-pounds. Now to stabilize our wheel, we're going to go ahead and put our screwdriver inside the cooling fins. Let's go ahead and tighten down our jam nut. you do want to make sure that's good and snug. It doesn't have to be super tight, but you do want to make sure it's good and snug. And then lastly, go ahead and grab the tie rod here, and I like to level it out. Before installing your wheel, I like to go ahead and grab a lug stud, set it up inside the socket like so, set that aside. Now ideally I like to go ahead and line up one of these studs here at 12 o'clock. I'm going to grab my wheel, line up one of those studs at 12 o'clock, support that on my leg, and grab that stud in my socket and get that top center started. Go ahead and thread that in a few threads. Once you have that in a few threads, go ahead and get the other ones started. Now once we have all of these started, we can come back and zip them down with our gun. When snugging these down, I like to do it in a crisscross pattern or a star pattern. And you're just going to bottom those out, snug, but don't tighten them. Let's go ahead and torque down our lug nuts to 103 foot-pounds. When doing this here, it's best if we do it in a crisscross or star pattern. At that point there, you're all set.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.